Alright guys, so I wanted to put a different spare on the GX460, primarily because I wanted something skinnier so it wouldn't hang down as far, but I also wanted something that was 10 ply for a thicker sidewall, so my sidewall doesn't get punctured when over rocks. This sidewall on this tire is about this thick. It's extremely beefy, so that'll protect the sidewall as it's, getting drug across things, because I'm going to leave the spare in the factory location. Also, while I was at it, I might as well get a tire with some more tread, so if I get in a really low traction situation, I can throw in the spare and have some more grip. I also have tire chains, etc. But figured that'd be a good idea too. The problem was I wanted a spare that was the same size as my 275s I put on the truck, but skinnier. So I ended up having to go to a 17 to make that work. This is a 235 by 80 by 17. I have 275s on the truck, so this is gonna be a good bit skinnier. Also, I wanted a slightly skinnier wheel, and I had to get a 17. So I got these wheels. You might recognize this. This wheel's on a lot of 4Runners out there. And the reason I got it is because if you measure from inside the bead, it's a 7-inch wheel. The wheels on the GX are 7.5. So that'll be nice. And the offset is a little bit more, so it should look pretty square. And usually if you look on the inside of these Toyota wheels, you can find the offset stamped on them. 17 by 7J and then 15, so there's your offset. So pretty cool. So it turns out I do have spare tire pressure monitoring going on. So I gotta dismount this tire to remove the tire pressure monitor so I can swap it into this 4Runner wheel. Hopefully it'll fit, I think it should. I could just not do that and clear the code in the dash, but it's nice to know if your spare's low on air. So I'm gonna try to dismount this tire with my crazy little bead breaker thing. We'll see if it works. I will show you how it works if it works. But basically this thing goes in there like that and tries to pop the tire off. The problem is this rim is kind of a weird shape for this tool. So this tool was not successful. Had to resort to more extreme measures. So I just put one of the corner travel index ramps up on the stock spare, drove up on it, and it busted it right off the bead. Old school. Now I can easily access my tire pressure monitor to swap it into the other wheel. While I'm in here, I'll go ahead and throw a regular valve stem in so I can have this as a second spare. We got the Lexus tire pressure monitor installed in the 4Runner wheel. That went in there easily enough. Now we got to mount the tire, which is one of my favorite things in the whole world, is mounting tires by hand. I just find it extremely satisfying. So to do that, we need a couple things. This old bar of soap, it's been around for quite a while, and we need my special tire mounting tools. There should be in here somewhere. Ah, there it is. Oh yeah, this guy. And this guy. Take the bar of soap, put it on the top bead. So depending on the wheel, you mount the top, mount from the top or from the bottom. This particular wheel is easier to mount from the top, and I can show you how to tell. If you look at the wheel, you want to mount with the deepest groove closest to the side you're going to mount it. So this is like an ATV wheel where this groove is tapered. Nice deep groove there. That lets you get one side of the tire in the groove while you work the other side of the tire around the rim. That is important to know. All right, where is the new tire? This meaty son of a biscuit over here. It's a non-directional tire, so don't worry about that. Get this nice and soaped up. I do have some actual tire mounting compound, but man, the bar of soap just works so much better. It doesn't get sticky goo all over the place. I'm sure someone's gonna tell you it's a bad idea, but some people say trying to mount an E-rated 10-ply tire by hand is impossible. So it's not. It took me about 3 minutes. I've already got it worked, 75% of the way around the rim. I'm gonna pry this pry bar and it's gonna drop right over there. You just gotta basically take the tire, put one lip under it, grab the tire and pull it into the, grab the rim and pull it into the tire as much as you can. Take your hands and work that bead onto the rim as far as you can by hand, and then start going with your pry bar every inch until it goes on there. It's a pretty simple process. With the next bead, this tool comes in really handy, so I'll show you that in a second. This is all in another video with an ATV tire, but this is particularly fun because this tire is about this thick on the sidewall. So it makes it a little more tricky. You gotta really know what you're doing. So I like it a lot. But yeah, we're gonna mount it. One tip is you don't wanna break your tire pressure monitor. So the best way to not break that is don't put the tire up against it when you start mounting. Start on the opposite side of it, or at least 90 degrees off from it. That way the tire can slide past it. You need this tire to go all the way to the rim there, and that would definitely get in the way if you try to do it with the valve stem over this side. We got the first bead on there, a little bit of work. Now we put this tool to hold the tire down in that groove. That'll let the tire slide into this deep groove down here I was talking about. And we just work it around the same way, and then we're done. It's pretty simple. It definitely takes some elbow grease with an E-rated tire, an LTE, but totally doable by hand. Even with this little tiny dirt bike pry bar. I don't know where I got this thing. Had it for 20 years. It's excellent. There you go. It's on the rim. One point I forgot to make is as you work it around, you got to push the tire down to make sure that it stays down in that groove as you work your way around. But doing it by hand like that, it's pretty rare to end up actually hurting the tire. You might scratch up your wheel a little bit. I did an okay job, but you're not going to tear up your bead. And if you're a guy like me who's actually a guy, you probably care more about your beads being in good shape and not having leaks on the trail than you do about a few scratches on your wheel. That may not apply to some of you with your wide wheels on your trucks that are just completely retarded, but that's how you're supposed to do it. So I got them both back on the bead. That is my excellent, ooh, that was a good one. This is my excellent, what do you call it? Lock Inflate by Lock and Lube. I fucking love this air chuck. Everyone should buy one. Look at it right here though, you can see it is a good bit thinner, so that won't hang down as far. And it's also the proper size, so keep my all-wheel drive system happy. Here's a height comparison with the tires on the truck. Obviously this doesn't have the weight of the truck on it, so it does look a little taller, but really close. Definitely skinnier along the width of the tread from here to here, but overall width is fairly similar. A little skinnier, so let's put it up there and see how it looks. Almost forgot to weigh it, that would have been stupid. You gotta keep track of any weight delta I make on the truck, so I try to weigh when I change things. It should be a lot heavier than stock. So that tire and wheel together, 82 pounds. Pretty heavy. Let's see what the stock weighs in at. Feels a lot lighter. It's a big, very baby all-terrain, but it's fat. £69. All right, that looks great. Standing where I'm at right here, you can't even see the spare, and as you come down, you see it, but not nearly as much, and it's some nice knobbies to look at. Now, the spare being there actually is good. Let me tell you why. Number one, it's not in the way of me opening my back door. Number two, it protects my trailer light connection stuff, which I could relocate, but it also protects the exhaust. So I'm gonna modify the exhaust now, and it's gonna go up next to the spare a little bit and come up, and then it'll be very nice. And you see down here, the spare is no longer hanging down beneath the back axle because I did a lift kit. I put another 2.5 inches of lift on the rear, and I also got that skinnier spare. Very cool. Very happy with how that came out. A little bit expensive of a mod, but I wanted a better spare anyway. So this vehicle has KDSS, so a common problem is you can't fit a full 33 spare. One of the reasons I didn't go with 33s, as you can see, it is clearing the sway bar with a pretty good margin, and that's a 32, a true 32. So yeah, that's really the perfect setup for this truck. You don't need to re-gear. You can keep your gas mileage. That's a whole other conversation, by the way. This rear diff, you can only do 373, 456, or 488. So what you really want to do on this truck is you want to run 33s with 410 gears. But because that's not an option, if you're looking to do a lot of mileage, you don't want to wreck your gas mileage and do a bunch of cutting, this is definitely the way to go. Run a 32, keep your stock gears, it fits it back there, 100% the way to go. Yes, it would look cooler on bigger tires, but it wouldn't gain that much performance and you'd lose a lot of practicality.